vocals about half stopped up for some reason or another.
Okay, we ought to be recording about now. So talk.
Talk. What's your subject?
No subjects.
No subject?
No subjects, yeah, just...
Well, they usually talk about the weather.
No, start off with that. That'll be good.
Talk about the weather.
Yeah, talk about the weather.
It's
Everybody talking about it, but nobody do anything about it.
that's about right.
Okay. So what is it? What is it?
Well, why don't you just ask questions
Why
and
don't
I'll
you
try to
just?
answer them.
Why don't you tell us who you are? Let me move this just a little bit. It's going to make noise on the tape. All right. Yeah, just tell us who you are. What's your name?
My name is Robert Eugene McBride. They all call me Bob.
Bob.
Shortened it up.
And when's your birthday?
September 18th, 1926 when I was born.
26. That's the year my mother was born. She
Sorta?
She was a little older than you. She was born May the 13th
Oh.
of 26. Yeah.
Well, I'm 85
Huh.
and plus. I mean, you know,
Yeah. 85 and climbing.
and climbing. That's the good word for it. 85 and climbing, and I feel pretty good for an old man. I don't have any known diseases or any complications that I know of. I haven't been to a doctor probably since I was a boy, when we used to have a lot of tonsillitis and growing up diseases. They always called the doctors to come check us out, but I've pretty well learned through the years of studying the Bible and putting my faith in the Creator that He's really the best doctor I've ever had, and haven't needed too much because I followed His teaching. He says if we'd obey His statutes and judgments, we'd have no sickness or disease. So I have searched out to find what those statutes and judgments are, and basically they probably would come under the 10 Commandments as the basic rules to live by for day-to-day, followed on a daily basis. Then we have statutes and judgments and festivals, ceremonial times when the Bible speaks of gathering of the children of Israel on certain festival days, and having, we think of Passover, a 7-8 day festival, and then Pentecost is a festival day, and Feast of Tabernacles when they gathered in, the Israel people gathered in all their crops in the fall of the year and had a feast, and it was called in the Bible the Feast of Tabernacles. And we've been observing here at the assembly here in Jackson Gap Feast of Tabernacles for a good many years, 50 years or more, I guess, and a lot of different groups around would come. We don't do so much now as we used to when we were younger. We used to have several groups, about 4 different groups of believers from Texas and up in Arkansas and around. We'd all come together. Feast of Tabernacles, we'd have Feast of Tabernacles here at our assembly, and then at Passover we'd have maybe another assembly somewhere, and kind of divided up. Then we drifted into radio work. We got into the Ellick City radio station here for several years. Had a 15-minute program on the Sunday morning. I think it's from about 10 to 10:15 on the radio station. Then Saturday afternoons we'd go out, we had some singers, good singers here, some girls, and I think most of the singers were girls, young girls. And of course they were up in teenagers or older, but they were a good singing group, and we'd go out to different towns on Saturday afternoons and set up our microphones to pick up the sound. We'd have usually I'd do some preaching and then have the girls sing some songs, and we done that pretty near every Saturday afternoon for several years. And on Saturday nights, we'd go to different churches. We had 4 churches involved in this, and have a singing at each one of these churches. And 3 of the churches were first day churches where we were Sabbath church, but we got along good. It's amazing how well we got along. We didn't try to force our thoughts and teaching on them, and they did. Of course, we grew up in Christian religion. We knew pretty much all about the Christian religion, but we weren't fanatical in it, and we didn't criticize people for what they believed. But we had a good fellowship there for several years, of each Saturday night going to a different church and having a singing. And people have, in every church they got, their singers, and we had our singing group. And I guess you'd call them the good days, because we didn't argue over or debate our points of view of the Bible. We just come together and had a good time, and it was really a good fellowship. And I never have tried to force people to believe what I believed. I think everybody has to search it out for himself. Steve, I'm sitting here talking all the time. You over here and ain't saying nothing. About the time you say something.
I was just catching a nap over here.
Ask me some questions or something. I'm about to run out.
I was going to ask you a question they might ask you on, Barbara Wawa might ask you this. She might say, well, what's the worst mistake you ever made, and what's the best thing you ever did?
Well, I might have to think about that a while. The worst thing I ever done? Ooh, that might cover a lot of, I don't know if I could just nail it down to one thing. I know I was in the service in World War II. And I went to Germany, and I'd done a lot of bad things over there. I wouldn't name any of them. One of them is the worst thing, but I remember I drank alcohol. I went with wild women some, and done about everything that you could do as a young army person in the army. And we went to Germany. Hitler had already surrendered, but we went over there as occupation troops. And I stayed over there 9 months and had quite a, well, I called it a good time back then. But after I thought about it and I got home and got thinking about all the bad things I'd done, well, I had to repent of that and get my life back together and turn over a new leaf and start serving the Creator. So I learned the better way. It's always seemed like a better way, but I wasn't in the better way for several years growing after I got up and went into service and left my home. My dad always kept it pretty straight when he was at home. He didn't allow any wild goings on, and he was strict. But after I got out on my own and got to drinking and carrying on, well, I went in the ways of the world for a few years. I'm 85 now and settled down, and I got a good wife that takes care of me, and my family, 5 children that lives right around me here. They keep me occupied with grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and I think I even got some great-great-grandchildren. So we have a good family condition here. We have all the